Today I've been working on our gameplay avatar, which shows up when we are in an event, like when we're in an event match. We needed to update it because it was outdated. This is it so far. There's going to be a mouth and maybe numbers added.
So for this week, I was able to make our bottom blue panel, so that's what will go on a robot with our sponsors. This is one side of it, and this is the other side. I was also able to convert all of our sponsors into the correct blue for this year. That is Colleen's job. That's what she's working on to put on the other panels, and that's what I did this week.
I catted up a support for some of the Lexan because the Lexan was sagging, and it will be bolted in place. Keegan has a print going on the 3D printer over there. I have the plans for the part right here. That's about it.
This week we worked on getting the limelight working and able to recognize April tags. So as you can see, when we point the limelight at the April tag, a number that corresponds with the April tag will show up on the camera feed.
This week we kind of messed with swerve code that we had last week, which has just some slew, which basically slew is it slows down the acceleration rate. So instead of going straight back and straight forward, it has a small period just a little bit where it goes. So that's with the slew that we had last week. Now we're going to show you the robot with no slew at all, which means that it will now just go straight forward and straight back on a dime very quickly. So, like that. But as you can see, there's no point in between where it will slowly come back and it'll slowly go back and forth. So then this version of our slew is more tuned. Yeah, it's an in-between of both, this slew. So it has It has less time in between. It takes so long to go back and forth, but it also doesn't.
You notice it also changes directions faster, right?
It does change directions faster. So with the slew, it just overall made the whole robot a little bit quicker than it was before. So yeah.
Right now I'm finishing up the last of the soldering jobs for build team, and I'm just about done, so we'll have all of our can coders done very soon.
Before electrical, Sig and I have been doing electrical. We have basically, for this, have gotten all the Spark Maxes that needed extended. We have not been able to mount everything yet because we're still waiting for our new Rio to be imaged by the programmers to have. We're hoping to have that by the end of practice Monday, or at least halfway through is my expectations. That way we're able to mount it. We did also we mount the PDH and we mount the breakers. We got the breaker cables done and hooked up to the PDH, and we also hooked up the pneumatics into the pneumatics controller, so all of that's ready to go. And then all that's left is to have our power cable set up and to set up our Spark Maxes to hopefully finish by Tuesday.
This week, me and Sophia worked on our slider for the actual robot-ready claw design. So we got a 2x1 piece and mounted the slider to that, and then one of our mentors printed our 3D print of the arm bit, and so we mounted those to the sliders to test it. Unfortunately, we don't have pistons yet, but we're thinking we should get them soon, or we're just going to take the ones off our test and use those. The 3D prints are a little iffy because when you press them together enough, they start bowing and bending, so we still have to do some tests with those. But these are our 1/2-inch wheels that we designed. And then we also cut these 12-inch long 2x1s. We cut 3 pieces, and therefore our elevator that slides, so 2 go like this, and then the other one goes on top like this for it to move back and forth with. And then we also had some uprights cut that stick off the edge of the one that lays flat like this on top of the 2 sliders. And we also for mounting our arms to the telescoping tubes, we made brackets because on our first attempt to attach it, our holes got off because of the way we did it, and we couldn't actually mount with these. We could remake this whole entire 2x1, but it would take more and more time, so we came up with a solution where we just make new brackets that go over where our previous riv nuts were. And we tested a third piston idea. So this piston on top would shoot out to push the cone as we're going to grab it, so we could grab it quicker. And then when we go to grab, at the same time that these two close together, this piston retracts so that we can grab onto the cone. We decided, for the most part, that we don't like this idea because of how complicated it would get to mount this piston to the point where when you have a cone getting pushed, it doesn't tip the cone over, because we ran into that problem a lot. We decided that if we were to go through and do a third piston idea, it would probably have to come through the bumpers, and we weren't exactly liking how that idea was coming about. So we decided for now, at least, we're not going to do that, and we're just going to stick to our 2 piston design.
So this week we've done bumpers. The sides, we've had, some luck. We've been able to use the same method we used in years prior, the regular knurled nut and the R clips. But instead of going down over the frame like this, we're going to mount them upside down so they're as close to the frame as possible. The front and rear are where we've had a little trouble deciding on how to mount it. So with the help of Mr. Wilds, he catted up this insert that will go in the end. This little bar at the end will attach to the wood to the bumpers, and pins would go through here. Some changes have been made for the next iteration. This was just a test piece, and that is pretty much it, I believe.
This week I have been cutting carbon fiber and myself. We have the lengths of 1/2-inch carbon fiber tubing that are going on the superstructure cut. Everything except for the stuff that's going on the grippers is done, so we're just kind of waiting for the length on that to be finalized. But all of this is ready to go. We've also been working on CNC and some of the 3D printed stuff. So for CNC, we're lightweighting at the very least the inner stage of our telescoping arm. So this is the 1.5 by 1.5, and we've been getting the CNC router dialed in. This is our first good take of it. Just triangulated on each side. And for the 3D printing, we started mocking up some of the pieces that'll join to the carbon fiber. This is epoxied in. And I've sent all of our print files to our sponsors, Go Engineer, who are going to print all the final robot grade parts out of nylon CF12, which is nylon with a 35% carbon fiber fill, which is one of the strongest known printable polymers. So we're very thankful for that. They're taking care of that for us. Hopefully we will have the final assembly done by end of next week. Depending on what the arrival of 3D printed parts looks like, it's looking like it's going to be a gradual income over the span of the week.
This week, me and Jack have been working in the Bridgeport room on being able to put the holes here for the X shaft to be able to go through. And we've also been cutting the holes on these. Me and Jack have had some rough goes with cutting ourselves on metal, but so far we've got most of the stuff done in the Bridgeport room.